Let's look at this map of Australia. Every part of this giant country has a major city like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, and even Hobart. But now look at the top, the entire northern coast, the part that sits closest to Asia, the part that is closest to the busiest shipping lanes on the planet, where trillions of dollars in goods sail past every year. And there is almost nothing there. No big city, no great port, no glittering skyline, just a handful of small towns scattered across an emptiness larger than all of Western Europe. This makes no sense. The north is the closest part of Australia to Singapore, to Jakarta, to the markets of Asia that the whole world is racing to reach, so it should be Australia's front door. And interestingly, this was not always a forgotten corner. For a brief terrifying moment, the north was the front line of a world war. During World War II, this quiet, empty coast suddenly became one of the most strategically vital places on Earth. So here is the strange question. If this northern side was important enough for an enemy to bomb this hard, why is it still almost completely empty today? First, you have to understand just how empty we are talking about. The north covers about 40% of Australia's entire landmass. 40%. And yet only about 5% of Australians live there. The biggest city up there, Darwin, has just 140,000 people. That is not a city by Australian standards. That is a large town. In some parts of the north, the population density drops to less than half a person per square kilometre. You could drive for hundreds of kilometres and not see another soul. So why does almost nobody live in this huge, strategically perfect region? It starts with the sky. Down south, where all the big cities are, the weather is calm and predictable. 4 gentle seasons, just like Europe. But the north does not play by those rules, because here the year is split into just 2 brutal halves. For half of the year there is wet season, and when it rains in the north it does not drizzle. The sky opens up, monsoon rains hammer the land, rivers burst and flood, roads simply vanish underwater. The humidity becomes suffocating, and on top of it there are cyclones and massive spinning storms that smash into the coast and tear apart anything in their path. Then, like a switch, it all flips. The rain stops completely, and for the other half of the year comes the dry season. Months of bone-dry heat. The floodwaters disappear, the rivers shrink, the wetlands turn to dust, water becomes scarce, and the land cracks under the sun. Now think about what a city actually needs. Steady water, reliable roads, power that does not fail, predictable conditions you can build a life around. The north offers the exact opposite. It either drowns you or bakes you, and it swings between the two every single year. But here is where the story gets interesting, because difficult weather alone does not stop a city from forming, because Singapore is also tropical. Hong Kong's also tropical. Jakarta sits in the same kind of climate, and it is one of the most crowded cities on Earth. So the weather is only part of the answer. The real reason goes back in time, way back. Long before any European arrived, the north was already home to people. The Aboriginals, who had lived across this land for tens of thousands of years. But they did not build permanent cities. They lived in smaller communities that moved with the seasons, following the water and the food, reading the land in a way no outsider could. To them, the land was not something to conquer and pave over, it was something to live with. So when the British arrived in 1788, they saw a coastline that to their eyes looked empty and untamed, and they brought a completely different idea of what land was for. They wanted harbours for their ships, farmland for their crops, fresh water, and above all a climate that felt familiar, cool, mild, a little European. So where did they go? Straight to the south. Sydney had a perfect sheltered harbour and gentle weather. Melbourne had rich farmland and a cool climate that reminded them of home. Perth and Adelaide fit the same comfortable mould. One by one, the great cities of Australia were planted in the temperate south, where life was easy and the land cooperated. And the north? Well, the British did try their luck there, and this is the part most people never hear. They attempted to build settlements up north again and again, places with names like Port Essington and Fort Dundas, and every single one of them failed. Malaria swept through them, cyclones flattened them, the isolation crushed them, the soil refused to grow their crops. One outpost held on for 11 brutal years before the settlers finally gave up and abandoned it to the jungle. They dreamed of building a Singapore of the north, but the land destroyed that dream every time. So the British did the most human thing possible. They took the path of least resistance. They poured their people, their money, and their cities into the easy, comfortable south, and they left the punishing north nearly empty. And the interesting thing is that the decision made over 200 200 years ago still controls Australia today. Because here is the strange truth. Every single problem that stopped the North has now been solved. We have air conditioning, we have cyclone-proof buildings, we have technology that can deliver water and power anywhere. We could build a great northern city today if we wanted to. So why don't we? Because cities run on something more powerful than technology. They run on inertia, on momentum. The South already has the people, and people go where the people already are. The jobs are in the South, so the workers move south. The workers are in the South, so the businesses build south. The businesses are there, so the roads, the railways, the power lines, the entire backbone of the country, all of it points south. The North has no large population, so there is no market, there is no business case. And with no business case, there is no political will to build. It is a trap with no way in, an empty region that stays empty simply because it is already empty. Even being close to Asia, its single greatest advantage, has not been enough to break the cycle. Darwin has become an important military base. American Marines train there. Its port was even leased to a Chinese company for 99 years, which set off alarm bells across the world. So this tiny, sparsely populated city, a place most of the world has never even heard of, has also become a flashpoint between the world's most powerful nations on Earth. This is how strategically important this northern side is, but being important is not the same as being populated. A place can be vital to a nation's defence and still stay small forever. So the North remains what it has always been, a vast, wild, beautiful emptiness. Geography decided where Australia began, while history locked those choices in place. And now, even in a world of global trade and endless technology, a country of millions still huddles in its southern corner, leaving its greatest doorway to the world standing wide open and almost completely empty.